Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Hire Moment Mastermind. I'm Shira Lotzar, happy to host you today. Hire Moment Mastermind. I'm Shira Lotzar, happy to host you today. Vern Schellinger is still on vacation. He's just coming back from a European vacation with his wife, for a 50-year anniversary. So we're happy for him, and he'll be back, Lord willing, next Friday. Anyway, so starting out, Ty has some good news for us. Ty, you want to share your good news and how it all happened for you so we can be
Yeah.
encouraged?
Well, first of all, I want to thank Shira, Vern, and everybody on this call and the other calls that I've been on. You've been a big help, big encouragement. The questions you asked helped me learn more and more about about what I need to do to land, and also has become very encouraging. And there's a job out there for everybody. It's just a matter of just where God wanted to put me, and I feel that right now that this is the right fit. I landed. I just signed the job offer to go to work at Legal and General America, and in the customer care department. Just felt right from the beginning. When I interviewed with the HR person, I looked at the website before I applied and looked at the company, and looked like a good company, great place to work company. I'm not sure what all that means, but the reviews were good for it. And I interviewed with the HR person, and then when I went in and interviewed with the hiring manager, it just seemed right. I talked with her in length about the environment, and then I was able to talk to a customer care associate and watch them in action, ask questions, and I felt like it was right when the customer care associate said, "Have you worked here before?" Like, "Oh, you're asking good questions." So I felt that was right. And then I went back and talked to the manager again, and then waited, and then the offer came out. But I should say this is I, as Shira knows, I looked in the association world for probably 2 years, and that had lots of interviews, and that was not happening. And I believe Shira said, well, maybe you should look, maybe in insurance, because I worked for an insurance company for almost 14 years, and that shifting gears is just what did. So I encourage you, while we need to know exactly what we're looking for, don't be afraid to look outside the box and say, well, I might want to do this or that, because you may enjoy it a great deal. And
so it's interesting, Ty, that you mentioned that. So I was going to actually share I was going to kind of riff off of what you just talked about and actually mention Deborah as well. So, on this call, I often say, because, my background is I'm a recruiter and I'm a career coach, right? So I see everything from two sides of the hiring aisle. And I'm always talking about the fact that employers are risk averse. They just are, right? They can only hire one person. They want to hire somebody who's going to make an immediate impact, have minimal learning curve, because nobody has time to train anymore. Any of you on this call who've been a hiring manager, you probably know what I'm talking about, right? And so both Deborah and Ty are in very, to me, parallel stories. Deborah, because a while when she first got on this call, like when we first started HMM, like in August of 2020, Deborah, I think you were one of our earlier participants, and you also were in transition for a long time, and you also had thought, hey, let me go shift industries, right? And you tried that, and it just didn't quite pan out until you decided to go back to the industry that you came from, and then got an immediate offer. And Ty, you also spent time looking outside, right, to something that was a little different. And then sure enough, you end up landing with a job that was in the industry that you just came from. So I'm mentioning this not because it's impossible to get a job outside of your industry. It happens. What I am suggesting, though, is to consider the sector you just came from or you're currently in, because from the employer's perspective, they're likely to be more attracted to you because to them, you are much less of a risk. And I will tell you, as a recruiter, I've been recruiting since 1994. Okay, a lot of experience in those. And I'm telling you, employers do this all the time. I would say 90-something% of the time when they're looking for someone, yes, they want someone in the lane, meaning someone who knows how to do the work, but they are very, very, very often also looking for somebody who comes from that industry. It's just the way that it is. Whether or not they say that on the job announcement, that's just the way. In fact, Deborah is in the search world because she does executive assistant operations work for search. So she also knows what I'm talking about, right? How many clients have you worked with, Deborah, who a search committee, right, says, okay, we not only want the vice president of whatever marketing, right? But we also want them to come from the commercial real estate or financial services, right? And they get very, very niche about that because from their perspective, it minimizes risk. So it's, again, I'm not saying you can't change sectors. People do it, takes a ton of intention, and it often takes a while. But from a sort of more expedient kind of a perspective, just be aware of the fact that people are very much sort of sectorally focused. Does that make sense? And that's why I just wanted to bring up Ty and Deborah just as a parallel, right? Because I just thought it was really interesting that both of you had that happen, right? Like that as you look back in the industry you came from.
Yeah, the other thing I have to say is basically when I interviewed with both the HR person and the hiring manager, cultural fit was like almost number one for them. They need to get somebody in there that would fit with the team and just like the environment, because basically they were very transparent about the whole process. Basically, you can talk to somebody that works in this type of situation. You can talk to the manager, you talk to the HR person. And I think it's important that you ask questions like everybody probably does about the job and try to have a conversation, which they say is the goal. And I think when you get to that point, you should be feeling pretty good if you can have a conversation as opposed to sitting there just taking questions.
Well, we're happy for you, Ty. When do you start?
The target date is September 11th.
All right. Well, we will miss you, but for
Thank
good
you.
reason.
I will miss everybody here and everybody. Again, I want to thank everybody. Everybody's been a tremendous help. I mean, you're tremendous people here. Everybody on these calls have been very helpful, and the suggestions and everything has helped me tremendously, and also has been very encouraging.
Well, God bless you, Ty. We're happy for
Thank you.
All right. So with that, let's go ahead in our normal call. So who has a job search question that we can address for you? Deborah.
So I think, Sherry, I'm asking this a little bit as an encouragement boost. To be honest, I think I know what I need to do, but it's like I want Sherry to explain it. I have been looking at executive search firms, going in, starting to look at websites, and so I find ones I like, and I go on LinkedIn and I say, I don't have any connections to this. So can you walk me through the best practice when you find a website that you love on the web, and then you start trying to go in and say, how do I find internal champions? So can you walk me through the best, like, how do I start finding people on LinkedIn, building those relationships, finding people when I don't know anyone at that company?
Yeah, for sure. So by the way, before I go into my little speech, in your particular case, when you say you don't know anybody at that company, do you have anybody in that company who's at least a second level?
I don't think so,
Don't
but
think
I need
so.
to check.
Well, so then you might have third levels, is what you're saying, or you have like no connections
Or it
whatsoever.
could be, yeah, or we could play out all scenarios. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So I'll go sort of in my generic little speech. So thank you for bringing this up, Deborah, because it's so important to find what we call an internal champion, right? So somebody who can flag your candidacy beyond just your resume, somebody who's internal. So look, let's just go through sort of step by step, kind of how to do this using LinkedIn. For those who don't know all the specifics. So yes, you take the name of the organization and you pop it into the search bar in the upper left-hand corner of LinkedIn. Okay. And I'm going to go very basic because I don't know, everybody's at different levels here with this process. And you hit enter. Okay. And then you hit the people button in the upper left-hand corner. That's going to show you all the people who are somehow in your network that work there. Okay. And as you go through them, ideally, you're looking for the following. Okay, I'm going to go with the ideal, and then I'm going to go with the second tier. So ideally, it's going to be top executive, HR person, recruiter, or the hiring manager. Actually, hiring manager would be ideal. If any of those four people or types of people are somehow in your network, they're likely not first level, although that would be amazing if they are, but they're likely not first level. If they are second level to you, which is fantastic, then what you're going to want to do is look for who your mutual connection is, right? Who's in between you and that second level. And LinkedIn will usually tell you that. I say usually because recently I've been finding when I do that kind of search once in a while, I don't know why, maybe it's a glitch. Once in a while, when you have a second level connection, I don't know why, but like the mutual connection isn't showing up. No idea what's going on with that. But usually 99% of the time you will see that person. You're going to have at least one mutual connection. You could have 10. If you have more than one mutual connection, reach out to everybody, okay? Because you never know. first of all, not everybody checks their LinkedIn, right? Number two, people get busy. Number three, people may or may not know, have a relationship with the person that you're trying to reach out to. And so you want to be, you want to kind of plant a lot of seeds. Okay. So I would look through that list and then just go reach out to a bunch of people. Now, how do you reach out to them? Well, yes, you could certainly send a LinkedIn message. But again, a lot of people don't check their LinkedIn. Okay. You probably didn't check your LinkedIn very often when you weren't in job search, right? So you can, but if you send a message, also send an email. Now, how do you send an email? Well, you can only send it to your mutual connection. And to find that person's email, open up that person's profile, hit the contact info button, and then usually you will be able to find their email address. Most people have their email address listed. So let's go ahead and actually just do a very quick, search, quick sample here. So everybody sees what I'm talking about. And let me just see here. Okay, so here we go. So here's, I don't know why I do. I always use American Red Cross as my sample, my sample company when I do these trainings. So that's the one that I use. Okay. So I've looked on the American Red Cross site, or I found a job on LinkedIn, and it's for a director of marketing, right? Okay. And so what am I going to do? So I'm going to do Red Cross. I'm going to type it in. Now, what you can see here is I just typed it in and immediately people came up. Okay. The other way to do it is as you start typing, you can see that the name of the organization pops up, which pulls up their LinkedIn page. You could do it just straight, or you can actually go to their page and click on, do everybody see here, it says 29,000 employees. This is hyperlinked, even though it doesn't look like it. Okay. It automatically pulls up the people. Now I'm going to do another search. So the first thing I'm going to do is go back to the search bar. So I'm already in the Red Cross search. While I'm here, I'm going to put in, now I'm just going to start playing around. So I'm just going to put in Chief Marketing Officer, because I'm assuming that that's the person I'd be reporting to, or somehow you figure that out. In this particular case, Red Cross actually has a bunch of people. They're so big, right? They got all kinds of folks. But let's just pretend that Rosemary, I think, is the person that I want to connect to. So she's a second level. And you see here, right? We've got all these folks, 47 mutual connections. I could just click here and it'll come up with the people, or I could click on her name. Either way is fine. Again, I'm sorry if this is too basic for some of you who already know how to do this. I just want to make sure everybody knows what to do here. And then I'm going to click on the names. And here are the people. All right. So this is a lot of people. So in this case, I probably would not reach out to 47 people to champion my candidacy, but I would try to figure out, first of all, who are the people that I'm closest to? Who do I believe is going to do me hopefully do me a favor? So I'd look down and say, okay, is there anybody here that maybe I have a relationship with, right? That I think, would help me. Now, remember, there's my relationship to this person, like Kwanzaa, but then there's Kwanzaa's relationship to Rosemary. Two different things. I might have a relationship to Kwanzaa, but Kwanzaa may not have a relationship to Rosemary, in which case she may not feel like to reach out to Rosemary. Maybe she will, maybe that's okay. Some people do, but maybe she won't. Either way is fine. I'm still going to reach out to her and say, hey, Kwanzaa, hope you're well. I recently applied for a position, the director of marketing at American Red Cross. I noticed on LinkedIn you're connected to Rosemary McGillen. Would you consider forwarding my application to her for extra consideration? You're not even asking Kwanzaa to recommend you. You're asking her to forward your resume for extra consideration. It's basically just kind of, like airlift the resume out of the database kind of a thing. And how do I reach out to Kwanzaa? Well, yes, I could message her because we are first levels. However, what I can also do is open her up, hit contact info, and lo and behold, here's her Gmail. 99 times out of 100, her email address will pop up here. Once in a while, people get too really confidential and they don't even let anybody see their email, but most people do. Okay. So I would do both. Reach her on LinkedIn, try to reach out on email. You never know. She's busy, right? Everybody's busy. And I would do that with multiple people. You can be and should be a squeaky wheel, because you never know. Once, because employers like to get referrals. They actually prefer to get referrals than going just sort of straight into the market. And so I would do that. Now, there are going to be people here. Let's get back to the search. Okay. Oops. Okay. There are going to be people here who are going to be third levels, like Jessica. A third level person, you will not be able to find the mutual connection. LinkedIn will never give it to you. That's just not how they work. So what happened here is if Jessica was, if the only people I had connected in this company are third levels, well, it is what it is. And so there is no mutual connection here. So what I would simply do is I would reach out directly. I would hit the more button, go to connect, add a note. Hi, Jessica. I've recently, just straight up, hi, Jessica. I've recently applied for the director of marketing role at Red Cross. You know, would be grateful if you would consider forwarding my application to the hiring manager. If you're amenable to accepting my invitation, I will then send you my application. And the reason why I say that is because you can't attach anything into a connection invitation. You can't. You have 300 characters, see right here, not words, 300 characters to send her a little tiny note. Be professional, be kind, make a request and say, if you're open to connecting with me, then I'll be happy to attach my resume into the message, right? Hopefully she'll say yes, right? Like you just have to just try, because you can't, there's nothing else you can do. Now, Deborah, are you suggesting that when you look at some of these search firms, you don't even necessarily have a third level, like a nobody, just like nothing?
I need to go in. I just need to go in and look, but I think like I went one the other day and I was like, wow, I don't have any first level. And now I got to go back and do the hard work of sorting, seeing other people I can connect.
Right. That's right. The first levels are actually usually unlikely for most of us to have within companies. Second levels are much more likely, or third levels. And the fact is this, if you are staying within your sector, it's likely you'll at least have third levels, but hopefully seconds, because, you know, it's sort of a birds of a feather, right? People kind of hang together. So I would, you know, but if you were completely outside your sector, let alone in another region, you may not have hardly anybody at all to connect with. And it just is what it is, right? In which case you can't necessarily go into find a connection in the company. Then it's more a matter of, well, you just can't. I mean, you can find people within the sector, right? But if you can only do what you can do, right? Now, that said, if the company is large enough and they have, now, Deborah, in your case is a little different because it's a search firm and they're full of a bunch of recruiters, but for everyone else on this call, you're playing a normal company. If that normal company is, and by the way, Nuja, I do see your hand. If the company is large enough, meaning, let's say over a couple hundred, you know, people, then they're likely to have a corporate recruiter. Okay. And if they have a corporate recruiter, just know this. When I say corporate recruiter, I mean a full-time recruiter in the company, not a headhunter like me, not a third party, but an internal recruiter. Most of those internal recruiters, and even us headhunters, we love to connect with people. We love to connect with potential candidates. So 99% of the time, if you just randomly reach out and try to connect with a recruiter, if that recruiter recruits for people in your profession or recruits for people in your industry, it's two different things. Some recruiters are profession focused, some recruiters are industry focused. Either way, likely they will accept your invitation. That's just one more step to kind of get in front of them. I'm not saying they're going to reach back out to you. I'm not saying anything's going to happen with it, but at least you can try. And then you're in their database, meaning in their LinkedIn database, and that's something you could maybe move forward. Deborah, is any of that helpful for you?
Yeah, it is. Thank you. It's a little bit of a refresher because I'm like, just do it now.
Yeah, right. Well, while I have you guys here, then I'm going to go ahead and share a video that I have that's going to go into all of that detail and a whole lot more. And let me just pop this into the chat box. So this is a page on my website that has a whole bunch of job seeker videos.
Can I add something to your comments?
Oh, sure. And Nisha, is that okay?
Add something to your comments?
Yeah, sure.
You can, You can look at their group. If you look at their group, you can join their group and then you can contact them through the group.
Great point. If they have a LinkedIn group, yeah. Karen, thank you for that. Really good
If
point.
they have a LinkedIn group, you can join the
Mhm.
same LinkedIn group and then you can message them directly.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
great. Thank you. It's perfect suggestion. So this link that I just popped in the chat, on that page, you'll see a whole bunch of my job search videos. They're in gray, but they're hyperlinked. One of them is called Using LinkedIn Like a Pro. It's 2 hours long, but worth it. I gave it to what's called a career gateway. Oh, speaking of which, I'm sorry, I'm bunny trailing for a second. The Career Gateway is a job search program run by an organization called JCA. I don't know, Ty, you took it, right?
Yes, it's excellent. It's
Yeah,
like
so
2
they're
weeks, but it's not every day. It covers
it's
the whole
every other, like it's
gamut
every other day-ish. It's going to be starting again on September 18th. I meant this good prompter because they just sent me the posting. I just put it on LinkedIn. Great group. It's only $75. It's run by a woman named Dr. Elise Barnes, who's fabulous, and you get tons and tons of job search advice. The video that I'm going to share with you here, in the video that's on that page, is actually the LinkedIn training that I do for that group. And every time. And so I do it like on the second Monday, I think, of the class. Anyway, in fact, let me just pull the Career Gateway. Let me just pull the link for you guys if you want to sign up for the program. Really great people. It's the 50+ crowd. I mean, not that they check your age, but it's designed for seasoned employees. Okay, so that's how you get to register for that program. Anyway, so in that video, it's sort of a two-parter in there. So the first part of the program, of the video, you'll see that I talk about how to create your profile, like how to really brand yourself, write a great about section, really think through how you want to present yourself to your community. The second part of the video is all about how to do searches. So the stuff that I just shared, but a lot more around how to make connections and how to do all of that. So I think it's really worth it if you guys want to check it out. Okay. So very long answer. So when you have no first level connections, is it best to just look for the recruit? Yeah, right. Well, if you don't have any, actually, no, let me back up. When it's not really about if you don't have any first level connections, if you don't have any first level connections, you still want to go with the 4 people that I mentioned. Yes, HR recruiter, sure. Hiring manager or C-suite executive. Okay. So if you can find the hiring manager, presuming you can figure out who that person is. If you can figure out who the hiring manager is, or again, a CEO, COO, that kind of person, if they're second level to you, that's good, because think about the relationship of all those people. The recruiter or the HR person, they're the ones who are first line screening. The hiring manager, of course, ultimately is the screener. And so if your resume gets sent to them, they can push it over to the HR person. Same thing with the C-suite. They can push it over. So the recruiter HR person wants to hear from the hiring manager and would want to hear from C-suite. Not that they couldn't hear from other people. If you don't have anybody who's a connection in those 4 areas, you just, I don't know, some random person in a different department, that's okay too. That's just considered an internal referral. That's fine. By the way, some companies actually have employee referral bonuses. So if you reach out to somebody from, right, like somebody in another department, then they refer you, they could potentially get a bonus if you get hired. Now the question is, do you apply first and then reach out to them or not? Everybody's a little different. So you could reach out to them first and say, hey, I don't know if you guys have a policy around this. Should I apply first? Should I mention your name? Anyway, just be aware that that's out there. But yeah, it's not even about HR and talent. It's those other folks as well. But anybody who can get your resume in front of the HR person is good. Okay. How do you know who the hiring manager? I'm sorry, Anuja, I know you've been very patient over there. How do you know who the hiring manager is? You don't, other than look at the job description, try to figure it out. Occasionally it says you're reporting to this person. Or if it doesn't say, not the name, but they'll say you're reporting to the vice president of whatever. And even if they don't, think about the department, right? Go on LinkedIn, pop in the name of the organization, do some searching. The name of the department is like I don't know, the customer excellence department or something, right? So look on LinkedIn and see who's there. Sometimes you can kind of be like a Sherlock Holmes, right? And figure it out, like, oh, wait a second, there's a vice president of customer something. Probably it's that person. You don't have to be exact, but if it's somebody who it seems like it is, that's okay. Just say, when you're reaching out to your contacts, not sure if it's, if it looks like, John Smith is possibly the head of this department. Not sure if that's the case, but would you mind forwarding it to him or whoever is hiring for this role? Okay. Oh, you tried that once and waited a day. Yeah, well, you never know about postings and how quickly they come and go. So time is of the essence with these things. I will share that with you. You have your opportunity here in your job search is to both do a quality application, do a solid cover letter, tailor your resume for every opportunity. Try to do that, but do it quickly because these jobs can be gone very fast. On top of which, because if you're applying for a remote job, remote jobs have exponential competition now because everybody's applying from the whole country. So employers often get very overwhelmed right now. They'll post a job on LinkedIn or they'll post a job on Indeed that it's a remote job. I'm not even kidding you. Within 24 hours, they will be inundated with more people than they can handle. And sometimes they take the job down very, very quickly. So just be aware. But if you're going for a hybrid job, which is less popular, but around, because there are fewer job candidates who want hybrid, the opposite is true. You have less competition with a hybrid job. So I'm these days I'm encouraging people to go after the hybrid if you're open for that, because your competition is going to be a lot less. Okay, so I've just fire hosed you, and Anuja has been very patient. So what is your question, Anuja?
No, it's all right. It's really great information because I kind of experienced this recently. I was very, very, very interested in a specific position. I had all the experience that they were looking for, and the job was posted, I think, like the 10th of August. And I had reached out to someone that I knew, but they were on vacation. And so I made the mistake of, I was working with someone to review my cover letter. And unfortunately, by the time I was ready to apply, the job was already, they had already taken it down. And so I did reach out to someone and we finally had a conversation. They came back and we had a conversation, and I don't know where it will go, but what I wanted to, my specific question was, you said something that kind of triggered, in my mind, okay, is that okay? Which is, you don't know anybody on LinkedIn, but you know someone that works at the organization or the association or nonprofit where you're looking for a job, that if you're able to reach out to them, that it's okay to send them a message saying, hey, just wanted to connect. And by the way, I'm interested in this role. That's, your organization. Would you be willing to? So, and I'm hesitant, even though I've been, working for I've never done that before. And so I would love to get your thoughts on, because I did do that. I think as Katie mentioned in hers, I did do that also. I reached out to someone, I didn't know them, but I never heard, and it happened with 2 different people. I never heard back from them after multiple messages, and it was through LinkedIn. Unfortunately, I couldn't find their actual email address. So it's discouraging because, by the time you do all these things, the job post is already gone. I know it's a long.
You can only do what you can do, right? Because remember, they are the other side of the equation. I mean, because they may or may not be checking their LinkedIn. Now, if it's were these first level people that you went after, or second levels?
No, not even second level. It was third level. So
third level is very difficult, right? Because you don't have a second level, as I mentioned, in the middle.
Correct.
And you can send them a connection invitation. They may or may not see it. They may or may not accept it. Like there's just may or may not, whatever. So you do the best that you can do in as many touches as you can do, as many touch points as you can find. Some people, and this may not be your case, Anuja, but there are some people who feel a little bit shy about reaching out to folks because, I don't want to impose. And, at the end of the day, I have found that people generally want to help people. Right? If somebody reached out to you and said, hey, would you connect me to so-and-so? Chances are you'd be like, sure, happy to help, right? And even people who are busy, still, there's just more this desire to bless people than to just kind of go on with their day. And so allow somebody to be a blessing for you. Allow them to be blessed by helping you, right? So really, and not to mention the fact that on the flip side, that employer wants to know about you, and that a coworker might say, hey, our HR people keep telling us, please refer, good candidates. So there's a mutual benefit here. I mean, it's a mutual blessing. So I would absolutely just take it, just go after whoever you can to help you. And you never know, you'll be have an opportunity to help them back, right? Just, be there, right? Just be present into the relationship, right? So does that help?
It does. Can I ask a quick follow-up, Ty? Sorry, if that's okay.
Keep going, Anusha. It's okay.
Okay. So my follow-up question is, if you've tried all these things, we're all here for the same purpose, right? We're all looking for our next opportunity. If you've tried all these things that you've, alluded to, whether it's getting connections, doing a strong cover letter, resume, but at the end of it, which has happened to me more so this go around than before, where you don't hear from the employer or potential employer, hiring manager, recruiter at all, there's that, you get to that point where it's discouraging, right? And so then that you still have to put your foot forward and look for the next opportunity. How do you, is it okay to reach out to the hiring manager? Because I know one association I applied for a couple of jobs, and I started doing this back, I think like in March, and they keep reposting the same position. And even though I've applied for at least the two that I was qualified for, I never heard from them. And
right.
So
there are a lot of reasons for that, right? Especially with small organizations, and most associations are pretty small. Most don't have necessarily a formal hiring process. People get busy. You never know who's doing the recruiting, how they're doing it, if they're getting overwhelmed. I cannot even explain to you how many variables there are as to why people's resumes may or may not get seen. Bottom line is that, fairly large association. Even so, and then that could be the opposite. Maybe they're super extra busy because they're really large. So a lot of reasons for that. Yes, you can. If you have not heard from the HR person or what have you, and it's been a second, you could send a very kind note. Just be very thoughtful about this, because of course hiring managers don't like to get overwhelmed with candidates, right? They have a process. So you could do an outreach and say, so-and-so, I've recently applied for the XYZ opportunity, hadn't heard back yet from the HR person, not sure if my email got lost in the shuffle somewhere, wanted to alert you of my candidacy. Okay, but here's the thing too, your resume has got to be on target. I'm letting that hang in the air for a second. Your resume has got to be on target. There are a lot, and I'm not saying this is your case, Anusha, okay, what I'm about to say generically, but there are a lot of folks who apply for jobs because they, as a candidate, feel that they're interested, but are not necessarily really qualified from the lens of the employer. Again, these employers are risk averse. Your resume has got to sing that you are the right candidate. At the top of the resume, have a headline, a career headline that matches the job title. Have keywords all throughout at the top and down the side with labeled next to your accomplishment stories of the keywords that match this organization. If your skills aren't 100% on target in your recent jobs, if you have job skills from the past, make sure that those are highlighted. You've got to look at this from the perspective of a recruiter or an employer and say, if I were searching for this job and I looked at this resume, would I say yes? Walk a mile in their shoes. So I had it happen years ago. So probably most of you know, I'm a career coach. I write resumes and I write LinkedIn profiles and such. And I had this very interesting experience with a resume situation. And it was a job seeker who, Allison's her name. And she came to me years ago, and she had said, she was looking for, C-suite job, whatever, in an association. So we redid her resume, and we redid it, like I'm just sharing with you, a lot of keywords, and it was very, so professionally done. Well, as it turns out, about 6 months or so, 7 months prior to her meeting me, so she met with me in like July. Back in January, She had applied for an association job, a C-suite job, and didn't hear back. Not a peep, not a nothing, not an interview, nothing, just like no response whatsoever. We worked together, redid her resume, popped out the keywords and made it like a brand. As it turns out, that job was reposted. Don't know why, but it was reposted right around the time we finished working together. She sends this new resume, all spanky, branded, right? All these keywords. She gets an interview. She gets the job. She's there to this day. Okay. In fact, I just reached out to her recently. Your resume matters. It really, your relationships matter. Your resume really matters, because that's the document that's going to say to these folks, is this person really qualified to the extent that we need them to be? A lot of job seekers will go after a job and say, oh, bullet number 5, that's my job. I love that. Right. That's not how the employer is seeing it. They're like looking at you in total and saying, is this person going to be able to hit the ground running? Are they going to have a minimal learning curve? Or do they hopefully understand our sector, be able to slide in, understand how we do what we do? That's their lens, right? You've got to make it easy for them to say yes. So Anuj, I don't know, like you're fit for that role or whatever, but I would want to encourage you to take another look and look at that announcement and say, is everything as parallel as possible? And then as a sideline, then there's the relationship factor. Does that make sense? Both really need to match up as much as you can.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Ty?
Just to piggyback on what you're saying, Sheer, every resume that I sent out and every cover letter was customized. I believe in quality over quantity. Everybody has their school of thoughts on that to look at. I even looked at the job description and took the terms and pasted them in if they fit, as long as it was the truth and would fit my accomplishment. I would paste it in there so it was the same exact terms. And like you said at the top, I would put usually I put the title I was applying for at the top. In terms of the cover letter, I always find somebody, hiring manager, unless it says send directly to so-and-so. I'll find the hiring manager's name and put them in there. And maybe I may have been wrong, but at least I think it says like, oh, you made an attempt. You did some research. These other people didn't. They just wrote, a generic one. So I think that's a big help in saying this person's working at this. This is just not the average candidate. The other comments I have is the company we wanted to work with. She told me that they've interviewed some people and they wanted to work from home. So that cut down on some of the candidates that wanted to apply. So it's like, no, and I said I would do hybrid, which I'd be happy to do hybrid. So that was one comment that I'm making. And also in terms of employers getting back, sometimes I would apply and it would be like 6-8 weeks till I hear anything from employers. So sometimes it takes a long time.
Yeah. So how soon and how often would you reach out to the company recruiter when they say you've been selected? Someone from the team will reach out to you soon. Yeah, right. I'd give it a week. And reach out and just say, hey, just following up on, your last note, Miss Recruiter, just to, let you know my continued interest and availability. And that could ping them. Now, especially if it is a larger organization where they do have a corporate recruiter, that corporate recruiter might have, no joke, 30 open jobs on their desk. Absolutely possible. In which case they're juggling all those jobs and those hiring managers and all those candidates. And they're like, and if they don't have a really tight system, they could be well-meaning and say, hey, I'm interested, and then completely forget and not be organized. It's just the way that it goes. And so yes, you can, you can reach out. I'd say after a week or so, we can have something like that, just to prompt them. In other words, pack your patience. Don't be discouraged if they don't reach out to you. It just could be their process on the back end may not be as organized as, it could be.
So when it's several weeks and I've pinged a couple of times, I eventually found someone higher up the chain to ping in my message, looking forward to next steps.
Right.
And they've called me and said, oh, I'm so sorry.
Right.
All the roles were filled. And then I had to apply just last week, twice in the same week for the same job.
Yeah.
And both times the woman called me and said, we're not really hiring right now. We're just building the pipeline. And then yesterday she called and said, are you still interested?
right.
and I have an interview this afternoon. So
Right.
persistence pays, but
Yeah.
holy cow, that process has been very frustrating.
That's how can I say it? That's just the way that it is these days. You know, and look, we are all seasoned enough on this call to remember back in a day when we did not have the online applications. Remember back then, like an envelope stuff? Okay. That was a whole other situation because people had to be very, very intentional to apply to a job. I mean, I'm taking us all the way back 100 years, right? Put the resume on the card stock and the whole, remember all that? Right. We all know. Okay. That the amount of resumes was, relatively speaking, now people just, not just, but they hit a button. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. And so employers, unless they have a really good process, which by the way, there is no such thing, I think, as like the perfect recruiter process. It's very likely that you're going to continue to not hear and well, wait and pivot and and then the hiring manager said that what happened to you, Katie, is very, very normal. I'm not saying it's not frustrating. It's frustrating. Pack your patience. Just say, you know what? It is what it is. I don't know what their recruiting process is on the back end. Some people are more organized, some are less. Everybody's got a different thing going on. But look, you're right. Persistence. And now they're interviewing you. So, right. Just try everything and just keep it going and try not to get discouraged. Just say, you know what? It's just one more seed that I'm planting, you know, and just go for it. Just keep on planting seeds. Because I like to say that it's like a farmer analogy. The farmer never expects that all the seeds are going to pop. There's the birds, there's the wind, there's the rain. They plant way more seeds than they expect to harvest. That's your job. Or to use the sales analogy, you're building a funnel. It's called a pipeline, right? You put lots and lots into the funnel, and then eventually a few things pop out at the end. But that means you have to fill your funnel with a lot of leads, because you never know what's going to happen on the back end, right? So keep on going, keep on being persistent, just keep on going. That's you always want to be in forward motion. When you apply to a job, never expect, oh, that's the job, or they're going to call me back. Because then you get discouraged. You just go lean forward, plant a seed, plant a seed, plant a seed, sprout, cut, water, forward, forward, forward. Don't look behind you. Be looking forward, because you never know like who's going to reach back up. Okay. Dave.
Thank you, Shira. I have a quick question about LinkedIn, and then I found a hack on searching in LinkedIn. The conventional wisdom is that the first level premium is not such a great idea. And it seems like I can connect with more people, but I can't write an invite. I know that's the short experience I've had. Could you comment just briefly on what
Premium?
the value, if any, is for the first level premium?
Yeah. So when you say the first level premium, are you talking about the first, like they have like different levels?
Yeah, I mean
tiers?
the lowest price, the $40 one, which
The
is
lowest price. Yeah.
I always forget what it's called.
Sure.
It's
Let's go ahead and pull it up for a second. LinkedIn does keep changing their their offerings, and I'm going to pull it up here.
They grandfathered, I guess my price is $29 a month.
Right. Yeah. Give me actually, you know what? I am not going to be able to see it on mine like you, because I have Sales Navigate. Oh, wait, hold on. Premium features. Sorry. Just pull this up. Manage subscription. Okay. So let me pull this. Hold on. Sorry, I'm doing behind the scenes before I share, because I do Sales Navigator, which you guys don't need, and I don't want to confuse you. All right, you know what I'm going to have to do, not to waste your time. Can somebody, Dave, do you want to go ahead and pull up on your end the different plans?
I'm in the middle of other stuff. I thought it was a quick question. I'm sorry.
It is.
I'd like to...
No, that's okay. And the only reason I'm mentioning it is because there are LinkedIn does keep changing in terms of the plan.
Well,
So
that's good to know. That's
Yeah.
good to know, and that's fine. But I want to just run this hack by you, because I thought it was really helpful for me, and I want you to get your opinion on it. I was doing on my laptop. I'm doing searches in LinkedIn, just like you said. The menu comes up. I get to pick people. I get to pick location, all that stuff. That works fine. I'm pulling up more names than what I'm realizing. And suddenly I can only pick 3 people. That's it. I mean, it just basically says you run out, you can't do any more.
So that I can explain.
Right. But I found a way around it. So I've never really liked the app on my phone. Right. So I go in on my phone, I just log in, and that's wonderful. Well, I don't get the nice pull down with the people and the location, but I can still do a search.
Right.
I can type it in just like I would do a Google search.
Right.
And I get, I'm not saying it's unlimited, but it's a lot more than 3. It's maybe, dozens. So that's a way, I call that a hack, because I've been able to go and use that and then go back to my laptop where it's more convenient and look for that just that one person.
So let me say this. Let me just back up a step. I don't know about the whole only finding 3 people, but here's what I can say. Oh yeah, Gina, that would be great if you want to do that while I'm talking. So in general, for people who have the free basic version of LinkedIn, when you do a search, let's just say on your laptop, it doesn't really matter, but let's just say on your laptop, you pop in names of companies, you pop in titles, you pop in whatever, and you do search after search after search after search. You can do that. At some point, LinkedIn's going to get smart, as they should. Look, they're a business. They got to make money too. They're going to get smart. And one day, after tons of searches, you're going to get this little box that pops up and it says something like, you've reached your commercial limit on LinkedIn. You now need to subscribe to premium. You're like, what in the world is a commercial limit? That means they think that you're a recruiter or a salesperson, because you're doing that many searches. Recruiters and salespeople do a lot of searching. At that point, you need to buy up, right? And in fact, that actually is the case, the condition under which I would recommend that a job seeker consider premium, because you're obviously doing a lot of searches. Now, which level you go after? Huh?
Excuse me. What I want to point out is, though, it's not first level. That's the second level, $60.
But that's it. That I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Right. So
but they also refresh you the first of each month. So you have to kind of dig to find that out.
Right. And no, thank you for that, because I believe that it used to be just any level. I think, but you're right. I recently looked at it, and the first level, you're right. You cannot do the unlimited. You get certain things with the first level, but the second level, the $60 a month, that's exactly right. That's where you get the unlimited. So if you look at when you would go to, so you have the same thing, Gina. You have a recruiter as well. You have Sales Navigator?
Back in the day, when I used to.
Yeah, I think mine looks exactly like yours, and so I think you're gonna have the same issue. Because I clicked on the For Business tab.
I have premium. I could try and pull mine up.
Do you want to do that, Katie? Thanks.
Sure.
I think it's good for us to just, Dave, thanks for the prompter. We just never really talk about the different levels of LinkedIn. This is a good time to do that, because they do change. And anyways, there's really, to me, 2 reasons why a job seeker should consider premium. By the way, I'm not saying you should do premium. I'm saying if you're going to think about it, there are only 2 reasons to me. Right? I like to say a reason and a half. The main reason is the unlimited searching for the $60 a month. The half reason is the access to InMail. Now, InMails, for those of you who don't know, are LinkedIn's version of emails. It's messaging, but it's sending messages to people you don't know. No matter the level, you don't get very many InMails. Okay, 5 or 10 or whatever it is. It's not a lot. It means you can send a long message to somebody. Thing is this, most job seekers aren't going to need to use InMail. Most people can just get away with doing a connection invitation, sending the 300-character personalized invitation. The chances of you really needing to do a long InMail are pretty slim. And even if you do use it, a lot of people don't check their LinkedIn, so they may not even see it in the first place. So I call it a half a reason, because I don't really feel like InMail is a really good reason to want to go after LinkedIn. Now, for those of you, and I don't think anybody here should need this, but although Gina looks like you had it a long time ago, there is Sales Navigator. I am not recommending you go after Sales Navigator. Most job seekers would not need this. I, as a recruiter, do. So I pay my $100 a month, right? And I literally get 150 InMails, which I need. Okay. That's fine for me, or fine for a salesperson. You don't need that. But for regular, just the normal LinkedIn premium, you're right, Dave, it's probably the $60 a month one. So Katie, I guess you're not able to find it?
I was working with a second display that was hanging me up. I got it now.
Okay.
Share screen.
With the free version, can you hide your identity when you're searching? Yeah, absolutely. So Katie, you pull your thing up and then I'll share about the hide your profile.
That was the reason why I signed up. I didn't want people to know that I was searching.
Yeah.
them.
Yes, you want to go to premium feature. Oops.
Oh,
If
okay.
you go, yeah,
sorry.
just go down to premium features.
Come on. I have a lot of things open.
Yep. All right. There we go. Manage subscription. And then wait, it's supposed to give you, why are we not finding this? Manage premium account. It's supposed to allow you to look at the different, well, I don't know why it says manage Apple subscription. What is that?
That
Maybe
just
that's
means
just,
that I'm paying with Apple
you're paying
Pay.
with Apple.
Yeah.
I'm not quite, maybe go to account preferences. I don't think that's what it is.
No, I don't
No,
think so.
no, this is why are we not finding this?
Oh, maybe this one? Nope. We're
Nope.
back to the same place.
Very interesting. Okay. Well, I'm a little stumped here. Visibility. Maybe manage account, purchase history. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why this is not showing up. Dave, do you remember where you found it? Because it's not being easy here.
So on mine, I went into the premium features and it gave me like the price list between the $29 and the $35.
Yeah,
Is that what you?
When I was ready to buy, then they're like, here's the 4 different choices. I think there must be a web page somewhere that has just
okay, so you know what? I just Googled LinkedIn Premium and I am pulling it up right now. Ah, here we go. All right. So it's like there's an actual web page. I didn't go to LinkedIn, I just did Google search. Try free for a month. Let's see here.
Yeah, that's what I.
It's taking me
yours
to
is the sales.
Sale Navigator because
Yeah.
or maybe explore other plans. Career. Here we go.
Yeah.
All righty. Lovely. Okay, so career, $30 a month. You get 5 in-mails. See who's viewed your profile. By the way, this to me is never a reason to get premium. Can I just say this for the record? See who's viewed your profile for the last 90 days is irrelevant. If somebody has looked at you, they've looked at you. That's all that means. If they reach out, great. And if they don't, doesn't matter. This is just an itch scratchy social media kind of who's winked at you kind of thing. Not a reason to spend $30 a month. Trust me. Okay. And then down here, see more features. Sales Navigator, career. Wait, where's the other one?
Yeah, this one doesn't have the $35
It
one.
doesn't. I don't understand. Oh, business. Let me try business. Maybe that'll do it.
Yeah, maybe.
I think this here it is. That's it. Here's 7. Now it's 70 a month. 15 in-mails, unlimited people browsing. There you go. So it looks like they really just have the two levels, career and business. That's it. Okay. And both sides, you're going to say open profile. Open profile is kind of nice because open profile means if you have that somebody else who's sending you an in-mail won't have to waste an in-mail. Because the thing about in-mails is when you have in-mails, let's say I have 5 a month or 10 a month or whatever. If I send an in-mail to somebody who's not open profile, I get dinged 1 in-mail. It gets renewed the following month, but for that month, until you respond back and it gets recredited, I'm out an in-mail. But open profile means that if I send an in-mail to an open profile person, it's free for, quote unquote, free for me. It doesn't ding me. So that's nice. It's nice when you have open profile for the other person that they can just reach you. And, you know, the rest of this is nice. I guess you get LinkedIn Learning, so that's nice. But to me, the main thing is the in-mails and the unlimited people browsing. Okay.
What's funny is on mine, it's scratched out the 69 and it's offering mine for $35.
Interesting. Fascinating. Fascinating. Well, different strokes for different folks, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I got an email recently that offered me 50% off on my premium membership, which is great because I had it, and then you know, then I took it. And Shira, you made a good point, is that I don't need to know who looked at my profile. I mean, you know, and I don't want to pay for that, right? But at the same time, I thought, okay, now it's only like $20, I think, it's only for 2 months, but I'll take it. So it's
yeah, they're always they know, you know, everybody's a unique customer, so they're going to send certain deals to certain people for different reasons, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I know.
Not a one size fits all for them.
Yeah.
I mean, look, good on them. They need to make money. They give us all this stuff for free. They got to make money somehow. So I'm not objecting to it. It's just.
But also, you know, for some of the LinkedIn learning sessions, right, you need to have a premium in order to take some of their classes. So that was the other reason why, you know, I felt that it was beneficial.
Yep, absolutely. Karen and then Ty.
So it used to be that you could do a Boolean search, and I'm sure someone has it documented off of Google or any other thing, and go back into LinkedIn that way. There was a way you could type in the characters in a Boolean search, and it would pull right into LinkedIn, and you could go around whatever.
Continue to search.
To continue to search.
I didn't know that. Thanks for that, Karen.
Yes.
Yeah,
I used to get knocked out all the time.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that little hack. If you're willing to do a little research for us and bring it back to us next week, I think that would be fantastic. I just didn't know that was possible.
There's another thing on LinkedIn that they do cater to unemployed people, and I do not know if this still works, but if you put LinkedIn/unemployment or LinkedIn.com/unemployment, sometimes you can get classes for free. They used to offer free classes to unemployed.
Didn't know that. You've been wealth of little tips today, Karen. Thank you.
I don't know if it still works. It used to. I haven't been in there, you know, at this point, but it used to be under unemployment. They were opening classes it was through the state of Maryland. Some of it was.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Am I able to answer questions related to unemployment? Not when it comes to like unemployment insurance or anything like that. Unfortunately, that's not my background. If that was your questioning. Yeah, I'm so sorry. That's not.
Yeah,
not where I play.
Okay.
Right, Ty?
Unrelated to LinkedIn, but if you're a member of an association, sometimes you have access to their email to your members, your fellow members. So that might be a thought. I believe ASAE is like that, American Society of Association Executives. You can email members directly.
That's true.
So that's a thought.
Yep. Membership lists are a great thing.
You can also go through your local library to get into Linda or the LinkedIn classes.
Oh, great.
They'll be free that way too.
I'd forgotten about that.
I didn't know that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, apparently libraries also have a lot of databases that are free.
Right.
Research.
But they have a Linda, what's used to be called Linda.
Linda,
you know,
now just LinkedIn Learn. I think they call it LinkedIn Learning now.
I know. I can't even remember the last time I went to a library. I think not since my child grew up.
Oh, no, you can do it all from home. You don't have to even go in the library. You can apply for a card at home.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And you should totally do it because you get Libby, which is the best thing ever.
What is Libby?
I have Libby on my phone.
What's Libby? What's Libby?
It is an app that you just put well, in my case, my Fairfax County Library number. And so all the audiobooks, all the digital books are free. I mean, you might have to wait, especially if it's a blockbuster book, but it can hold life-changing.
You can hold books if there's a particular book you're looking for. You can hold it and pick it up when it's available. So yeah, it's a great app. It's called Libby. I have it, Gina.
Yeah. Did somebody have questions about unemployment insurance?
Yeah, Anuja?
Well, it wasn't specifically unemployment. So if you've exhausted your unemployment, are you able to reapply?
So is it from the same unemployment job or is it from a new job?
Yes. No, same.
Oh, no, I wouldn't think. I think once you've exhausted, you've exhausted.
Okay.
In the same fiscal year, I've lost 2 jobs. And so I just reapplied. I got a new PIN and I have a new allotment, but it's from a different job.
Okay. Yeah. And I had it's just such an arduous process. They don't make it easy. And I got really, really sick one week, so I didn't apply. And now I have to start the process all over again. And I can't call the Virginia unemployment office from my cell phone. I have to use a landline. And that's the only one. They're like, well, you can go to a library and call using the landline. I know I'm going into a territory of questions that we don't need to take up this time, but yeah, it's just been a little bit of a.
I'm happy to put my phone number, or you can find me on LinkedIn and my phone number is there, because I've experienced everything that you've gone through.
Okay, thank you, Gina. Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
I'll connect with you right now.
Yeah.
And you know,
Sorry,
not for nothing. Well, not for nothing. There are attorneys out there who specialize in unemployment, my understanding. Somebody might be willing to give you a little bit of free advice. Most attorneys are, like a quick 15, 20 minutes, whatever. So if you go on LinkedIn maybe and just type in, you know, attorney, unemployment, Virginia, or wherever you are, right?
Okay. All right.
Maybe
Great.
you might
Thank
find
you.
some interesting person.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Or Ty?
My suggestion also is to contact your state rep, because they have like an ombudsman that handles like what constituents, saying, look, I'm having problems getting my unemployment.
And
Yeah, well,
actually,
how can you
that's
help
what-
me?
Yeah, no, that's what I did. I contacted my city council member who put me in touch with the individual that oversees it, and then they got a hold of the office in Richmond. So yes, I've used my contact, so thank you.
Great, thanks. Karen?
I was going to say the same thing that Ty did. I have had people go through their congressman. I've had lots of problems with unemployment. And they will look at the congressman before they talk to you.
And I think
I don't know how they can tell you're on a cell phone versus a landline phone, because most people don't always have landline phones.
I know when she told me that, she reiterated it several times, and I even said to her, I'm like, not too many people have landlines anymore. And you're right, Karen. I don't know how they'll know.
I don't know how they can tell, because I don't think anything in the stream of dialing shows them that you're on a.
Why would you have to be on a landline to call your unemployment office?
I don't know. That's the one thing. Go ahead, Gina. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I went on travel and I was trying to call in from my cell phone, and they even knew that I was calling from a different country. And I was trying to do my weekly claim on my laptop, but they knew my internet connection was from a different country, so they thought it was fraudulent. So yeah, they do somehow know. What I will say is they will call you back if you press that option. It took them about 7 days to get back to me. I got the call back yesterday after, calling in last week. So I just think they're really understaffed, and they make it impossible to talk to a human being.
Yes, that has been the other issue.
Yeah, but I'm happy to brainstorm with you.
Well, this is all enlightening for me. Thank you for sharing. All right, Dave?
I'm technically still employed, but I'm on the precipice, and I see there's different things people choose to put on LinkedIn once they no longer have a job. Could you comment briefly on what's the best choice from your perspective?
Elaborate a little bit more when you say different things to put on LinkedIn.
Well, some say, well, the worst one is to say, like, I think laid off, or to have a nothing going on, like you've no longer got anything. You've terminated in June, and now it's July.
I see.
And then there's I'm a consultant now, because everybody says, oh, I'm a consultant now because that's what I do. So I'm just wondering, is there something you'd recommend?
Yeah, right. Well, so first of all, there's no one answer. We just
Right.
say that. And there's no one answer because obviously everybody's situation is different. And plus you
Right.
never know who's looking at you and what their perception is going to be about the fact that you are no longer there. So here's the, sort of tick off my fingers kind of a thing. So first of all, there's the just end date, that's that. And there are plenty of people that do that. And it's not a problem per se, especially if it's only been a few months. Once you got maybe beyond a few months, and again, there's no exact science to this. I say a few months, somebody else may say 6 months, a while, okay? After that, then what? Well, there's different things that people do. So yes, there's the consulting thing, or not even just saying I'm a consultant, you could say freelance, right? Presuming that is true, presuming that you actually are open to and searching for gig work, you can say, freelancer and whatever your thing is and have a little description. And you can even say, while searching for full-time employment, I've been providing, or I am open to da, 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 kind of a thing. The second thing is volunteer work. You can, even though there is a separate volunteer section, you could use your experience section for that. You can say, volunteering with the animal shelter, whatever it is. And then the other thing, if it's been a minute, is the career break. So let me show you what I'm talking about. LinkedIn has this very nice little feature. Now, you wouldn't typically do this if you're still looking for a job, but you can. Mostly people do it when they're trying to overcome a past break because of a job search. So what you do is you go into your profile. Right. And you hit the plus sign, and it's going to give you two options: add a position or add a career break. And add a career break, they now have these different drop downs, all these different things. Okay. And so this would say career transition. And then you would put the year, like let's say I am currently on a career break, and you give a little description, seeking opportunities, seeking whatever you're seeking, blah, 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 seeking, I don't know, whatever it is, something. Hit save. Oh, actually, if I do that now, I think everybody's going to get updated. I don't want to do that, but what'll happen is when you hit save, what'll happen is right here, right above your last job, a little kind of, it's a little square. The icon over here is a little square. It's like orangey kinds of dots. And it just says career break. And then you would put in, you would just explain what you're doing. That is an option if you've been in transition for quite some time. But otherwise, I would just put the end date. It's been a few months, volunteer work or freelance work.
So you don't think that it adversely affects the search if there's nothing listed as current for you? Because that's what I saw in one of the.
Everybody's got a different opinion. I don't think it adverse.
Oh, I thought maybe when you're actually searching, there's something that a recruiter might say that would, put you lower on the list, or that
look
would
when
just,
people
or,
have an end date. The thing from an employer's perspective, from a recruiter's perspective, that flies through their head was that person let go. Now, of course, if people will let go for a million different reasons, so that may not be anything. These days, people change jobs all the time. People get laid off, people get whatever, it's restructured. We're in a different day and age than we used to be. I think there's just a whole lot more openness to people leaving for all kinds of reasons. So I wouldn't be as worried about that. Put your end date, be accurate. That is true. Be accurate. Don't say you're still employed if you're not still employed there. That I will say. Put your end date. If it's been, more than a few months, consider one of the other options that I shared, just to show that you're actually doing something in addition to job search. Yeah, but I don't think it's a problem for the first, period of time. It's okay. And even if it's longer than a few months, it's all right. Like, again, people they understand life happens and it's tough to get a job these days.
Yeah, if there's any one time, I guess this COVID, area or, years,
Yeah.
it sounds like it's, you can put an end date and it not be the end of the world.
That's right.
And if you're, from what I understand, if you are at the executive level, I think recruiters recognize that it's going to take a while. You don't just get a new job in
100%.
yeah.
100%.
So
Yeah. And at all levels, frankly, I mean, truly, it's just a very different market than it used to be. But you're right, especially at the executive level. But in general, it takes a while, or can take a while. So don't worry, just don't worry about it too much. Just be accurate. But again, if you can put a little freelance there, volunteer work, then that could be helpful too. Ty, and then we'll wrap up.
I think it's more important when you go for the interview to be able to explain it, be open, transparent, and explain, why you're not employed or what you're doing. That you need to have something that you're doing at that point. That's just been my experience. I don't think it stops you from getting an interview. In some cases, an employer might look at you and say, "Oh, they're not working. I want to hire somebody that's working."
Yeah, you never know the lens of the recruiter. They're human beings, right? They have different feelings about things. So do your best to, again, be accurate. Cool. All right. So with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up for now. And for those of you who would like to stay on for the short prayer call that I'll lead people through, you're certainly welcome. And otherwise, we'll look forward to seeing folks next week. Have a blessed weekend, and we'll see you soon.